The deepest sadness in Sophie's life struck when she lost her mother at just 20 years old. Her mother, a brilliant scientist and incredible role model, succumbed to cancer. It was more than a shock. It was a seismic upheaval. Losing my mother so young felt like losing the most important guide in my life, Sophie shared in a heartfelt interview. Sophie recalls those final days as unbearably hard. Watching her mother suffer while feeling utterly powerless was devastating. "I didn't just lose my mother," Sophie said, her voice cracking. "I lost my best friend, the person I shared every joy and sorrow with." This grief left a void in her soul, yet it also awakened a fierce motivation. "I wanted to live stronger, to honor her memory." For a long time, Sophie felt lost and unanchored. "I didn't feel I belonged anywhere," she admitted. "I was constantly chasing a sense of security that seemed impossible to reach." That loneliness only deepened when she entered the intense, competitive world of media. "Without my mother by my side to guide me or encourage me," she confessed, "I felt I had to handle everything alone." This loss not only impacted her emotionally, but also shaped how she built relationships. "I was afraid of losing the people I loved, so I often built invisible walls to protect myself." Sophie also shared the pain of not being able to talk about her deep grief. It made her feel more isolated, even from family and close friends. "I always thought if my mother were still here, I'd see life and human connections through a different lens." Born on May 19th, 1963, in Bordeaux, France, Sophie studied journalism and communications at the University of Bordeaux, quickly proving herself a rising star. "To me, journalism isn't just reporting news, it's forging real connections with people and making the world better," she said. Sophie began her TV career in the late 1980s as a weather presenter on France's national station. Though small, the role showcased her charming presence and energetic style. "I knew it was just the beginning, but I was always determined to prove what I was capable of." Soon she was hosting news segments and talk shows. Her adaptability and professionalism earned her immense trust from viewers. The breakout came with her role on C'est au programme, a morning show covering everything from health to culture. With her natural, charming, and intelligent delivery, Sophie quickly became one of France's most cherished hosts. Even after C'est au programme ended, her career soared. Since 2017, she's led the hit antiques show Affaires concluses, regularly drawing millions of dedicated viewers. On the screen, her role goes beyond hosting. She bridges connections, weaving warmth into every episode. But Sophie's journey hasn't been without its challenges. Not every project soared in ratings, and she faced criticism from both media and viewers. "I've always known that not every venture would succeed," she said, "but that never stopped me from experimenting and seeking new opportunities." In a fiercely competitive TV landscape, Sophie remains driven. "You can't afford to stop. You have to keep proving you belong." After more than 30 years in media, she has built an impressive legacy, one marked not just by talent but by sincerity and deep connection with her audience. "I want every project to mean something," she says. And through it all, Sophie's heart, a heart shaped by loss, is what continues to drive her, guiding her toward making a positive impact on the world. "Could to make us feel loved and supported," Valentine once said in an interview. For Sophie Davant, motherhood has always been more than just a title. It's been her anchor, her greatest role, and the most sacred part of her life. Even at the height of her television career, traveling across France and filming almost daily, she never let her success come at the expense of her children. Whether it was late-night calls from the studio or waking up early to make breakfast before school, Sophie was there, present, attentive, and full of love. But Sophie's journey, both as a public figure and a private woman, is also defined by resilience. After her divorce from renowned journalist Piace, her husband of 23 years, she faced one of the most emotionally challenging chapters of her life. Their marriage had begun with shared intellectual chemistry and a deep passion for media. They were considered one of the most admired couples in French journalism, raising two beautiful children together, Nicolas and Valentine. However, as years went on, their careers consumed more and more of their time, and their lives began to drift apart. "We loved each other," Sophie admitted, "but sometimes love isn't enough to overcome everything." After nearly 2 decades together, they separated in 2012, a painful yet necessary decision. "Divorce is never easy," she reflected, "but I believe it was the best way for both of us to find peace and move forward in our personal lives." Rather than rushing into another relationship, Sophie took time for herself, for healing, for rediscovery. "I realized happiness doesn't come from being with someone," she said in a revealing interview, "but from learning to love yourself first." Although rumors about new relationships have surfaced over the years, Sophie has remained fiercely private about her love life. She believes that peace of mind is more important than public speculation. "The most important thing," she once said, "is to stay focused on what really matters: my children, my well-being, and my purpose." Beyond her work on screen, Sophie has used her platform to support numerous charitable causes, especially health-related campaigns close to her heart. She's particularly active in cancer awareness, a cause that touches her deeply following the tragic loss of her mother. "If I can use my voice to bring comfort to those going through what I went through, then I know I'm doing something that matters," she shared. Her biggest accomplishment, in her eyes, isn't the millions of viewers she draws weekly or the awards she's earned. It's the emotional impact she's had on people. "I'm proud not just of the ratings or the shows, but of the letters I receive, of the women who tell me I helped them through a difficult time, or the viewers who say I made them smile when they had none left to give." From her early days presenting weather forecasts to becoming a household name through C'est au programme and Affaires conclues, Sophie has built an extraordinary career, but she's done so with grace, vulnerability, and an unshakable sense of purpose. "I never wanted to just entertain," she explained. "I wanted to inform, to inspire, to connect." And connect she has. Now in her 60s, Sophie shows no signs of slowing down. Her passion for television remains, but her life is more balanced than ever. She's carved out time for family vacations, quiet evenings at home, and long walks where she reflects on everything she's built and everything she's overcome. If there's one lesson Sophie Davant continues to teach, on screen and off, it's that behind every polished smile is a story of loss, of strength, of growth. And through it all, she reminds us, even the deepest sorrow can lead to the most beautiful kind of grace. "Mom always did everything she could to make sure we never felt deprived of love," shared Valentine. For Sophie Davant, motherhood isn't just a role, it's a pillar of her life. "My children are my greatest source of motivation. When I'm tired, just thinking about them gives me strength," she once said. To her children, Valentine and Nicolas, Sophie isn't just one of France's most beloved TV presenters, she's a devoted, resilient, and deeply loving mother. "My mom is the strongest woman I know. She always finds a way to overcome challenges and give her best to the family," Valentine added. The two siblings have always been proud, not just of their mother's public accomplishments, but of how she's navigated life's hardships with such quiet determination. "Our mother taught us early on that life is never easy," Nicholas once shared. "But if you believe in yourself and stay determined, you can get through anything." But Sophie isn't just a role model within her family. She's an inspiration to women across France. Time and time again, she has proven that it is possible to balance career and family as long as you stay organized and focused. "I want my kids to see that women can do it all, as long as they never give up," she said. Despite enduring profound personal losses, the relentless pressure of public life, and constant change, Sophie has always moved forward with courage and optimism. My mom never backs down, Nicola declared. She's a real warrior. Sophie's father, who had already suffered the devastating loss of his wife, knew all too well the weight his daughter carried after her mother's death. She had to grow up fast, he once said. She went through so much pain but never let it break her. Instead, she turned that pain into strength. He remained one of her biggest supporters throughout her life, both in private and in her career. Sophie is my greatest pride, he shared, not just because of her success on television, but because of the way she raised her family, stayed true to herself, and never stopped moving forward. Even after losing his beloved wife, Sophie's father continued to shower his daughter with unconditional love and wisdom. Life isn't always easy, he told her, but what matters is believing in yourself. You don't need to please everyone. What counts most is that you're proud of who you are. Sophie's media career began humbly in the late 1980s as a weather presenter on French national television. It wasn't a glamorous job, but it allowed her to develop confidence and presence in front of the camera. I didn't expect big things from it at first, she admitted, but it's where I learned to feel comfortable on screen and to connect with the audience. Working in weather reporting not only helped her gain experience, but taught her the importance of authenticity. That's when I realized I wanted to do more than just announce the forecast. I wanted to make a real impact. Her breakthrough came in 1998 when she was chosen to host Cette program, a dynamic morning show covering culture, health, entertainment, and everyday life. It was a turning point. Sophie quickly established herself as a versatile and thoughtful host who could handle a wide range of topics. But it wasn't just her professionalism that won over audiences, it was her warmth and sincerity. I don't just want to talk at the audience, she said. I want them to feel like I'm really listening. Cette program became a long-running success, airing for more than 2 decades, and solidifying Sophie's place in the hearts of French viewers. Then in 2017, she made another bold move with Affaire Conclue, a show focused on antique auctions that quickly became a massive hit. I love how every episode brings new stories and new people, she shared. It's endlessly fascinating, and I'm passionate about helping people tell their stories. Sophie once again proved she wasn't just a host. She was a storyteller, a connector, a woman who understood how to turn simple moments into something meaningful. Despite her achievements, Sophie's journey hasn't always been easy. Some of her shows didn't meet expectations, and she's had to face public criticism along the way. I've always known that not every project will be a success, she said, but that's never stopped me from trying new things. In an increasingly competitive industry, she's had to constantly evolve to stay relevant. You can't rest, she added. You have to keep proving why you deserve your place. With over 30 years in television, Sophie Davant has built an extraordinary legacy. But beyond the ratings and accolades, what sets her apart is her heart, her honesty, her refusal to quit, and her deep, unshakable connection with the people who've watched her grow, stumble, and rise again. I always want to offer something meaningful, she said, not just entertainment, but information, comfort, and inspiration. And she does, every single day. Affaire Conclue wasn't just a rating success, it became a cultural phenomenon that brought Sophie Davant into the hearts of a new generation. The show became an essential milestone in her career and remains on the air today, with loyal audiences tuning in daily not just for the antiques, but for Sophie's warmth, wit, and unmistakable presence. Yet behind the cameras, Sophie's journey hasn't been without its challenges. As a woman navigating the fiercely competitive world of media, she has had to fight harder than most to stay on top. There were moments, she confessed, when I felt like I had to prove myself not once, but hundreds of times. The pressure wasn't only professional. Like many women, Sophie had to walk the razor-thin line between career ambition and personal responsibility. The expectations placed on her were relentless. To be flawless on screen, ever available at home, and tireless behind the scenes. and yet somehow she managed to keep walking, gracefully, courageously, and with remarkable resilience. "There were times I felt like I was juggling glass," she said. "One wrong move and everything could come crashing down." But instead of allowing the stress to consume her, Sophie saw each struggle as a stepping stone. "Every challenge," she said, "is an opportunity, not just to grow professionally, but to evolve as a person." And she meant it. Whether navigating media politics, adapting to evolving viewer expectations, or simply pushing herself to stay relevant in an industry obsessed with youth, Sophie Davant always managed to stay grounded. She leaned into change, she embraced the unknown, and she reminded women everywhere that reinvention isn't only possible, it's essential. Throughout her career, Sophie has used every role she's played, presenter, journalist, mother, woman, to break boundaries and defy expectations. And she's done it without losing her authenticity. Un jour, Sophie Davant a déclaré avec cette simplicité percutante qui la caractérise: "Si je peux être la preuve, ne serait-ce que pour une seule jeune femme, qu'on n'a pas besoin de sacrifier sa vérité pour réussir, alors tout cela en aura valu la peine." Et cette phrase, à elle seule, résume l'essence d'un parcours qui va bien au-delà de la télévision. Un parcours fait de courage tranquille, de persévérance sans fracas, de fidélité à soi-même, une vie qui n'a jamais été dictée uniquement par les projecteurs, mais plutôt par la lumière intérieure d'une femme qui refuse de tricher, même quand cela coûte. Son travail sur l'émission Affaires conclues, qu'elle a su transformer en rendez-vous incontournable, n'est qu'un chapitre d'une histoire beaucoup plus vaste. Une histoire qui débute bien avant les caméras et qui se poursuit bien après que les génériques aient défilé. Une histoire tissée de combats personnels, de choix difficiles, de blessures discrètes et de renaissances silencieuses. Car si les audiences flatteuses et les distinctions professionnelles font évidemment partie de l'héritage de Sophie Davant, ce ne sont pas elles qui la définissent. Ce qui compte au fond, ce n'est pas ce que les chiffres racontent d'elle, mais ce que les gens ressentent à son contact. Et ce lien-là, elle l'a construit patiemment, sincèrement, sans jamais chercher à jouer un rôle. « Ils me font confiance », confie-t-elle simplement. Et cette confiance est sacrée. Il n'y a ni posture ni stratégie dans cette phrase. Seulement une reconnaissance authentique de ce qui l'anime depuis le début. Créer un lien réel, être présente, être utile, être juste. Car ce qu'on remarque immédiatement chez Sophie, ce n'est pas seulement la professionnelle chevronnée ou l'animatrice parfaitement rodée, c'est la femme derrière le sourire, celle qui écoute vraiment, celle qui porte encore en elle des failles, des doutes, mais qui choisit chaque jour de ne pas s'y enfermer. Elle n'a jamais prétendu à la perfection. Elle n'a jamais vendu l'illusion d'une vie sans ombre. Au contraire, elle a osé parler de la perte, du deuil, de la séparation, de ces moments de bascule où l'on se sent vaciller. Et c'est sans doute cela qui la rend si proche de son public. Elle n'est pas au-dessus, elle est parmi. Elle est l'une d'entre nous. Dans chaque sourire qu'elle adresse, chaque regard bienveillant à un invité timide, chaque silence qu'elle respecte à l'antenne, il y a une leçon de douceur. Un rappel que la télévision, quand elle est faite avec humanité, peut encore être un espace de chaleur et de confiance. Et cette chaleur, Sophie Davant l'incarne comme peu d'autres. Elle n'élève pas la voix pour se faire entendre. Elle ne court pas après la polémique pour rester dans l'actualité. Elle avance avec grâce, avec justesse, avec cette élégance de cœur qui ne s'invente pas. Le vrai succès, pour elle, n'a jamais été dans les trophées. Il est dans ces messages reçus d'inconnus qui lui disent « Grâce à vous, j'ai repris confiance. Vous m'avez aidé à traverser une période difficile. En vous voyant, je me dis que moi aussi, je peux y arriver. » C'est là que réside sa plus grande victoire, dans cette trace laissée dans la vie des autres, discrète peut-être, mais profonde, durable, et en cela le plus grand triomphe de Sophie Davant ne se trouve ni dans un studio, ni sous un projecteur. Il vit ailleurs, il vit dans les cœurs, dans ceux qui, un soir, l'ont regardée avec un peu d'émotion dans les yeux, parce qu'ils se sont reconnus dans ses mots, dans sa force tranquille, dans sa capacité à continuer malgré tout. Sophie Davant incarne la résilience, avance malgré la douleur, se réinvente à différents âges, inspire par son exemple et cherche à éclairer plutôt qu'à briller.